Welcome back to the Watching It podcast Oscar Best Picture special. We're covering the 96th Academy Awards Best Picture nominations, and these are the next 5. And boy, howdy, these next 5
Yes.
are the real deal.
Yes.
The previous 5 that we talked about last week, there were some decent ones in there, some good ones. Now we're getting into the thickness.
Yeah. This is where I will say things get emotional, things get real, and things get weird.
They get real weird.
I will say, and it was the last movie, I'm not going to say which one, but it was the last movie I watched, and I will say that one is reading the synopsis.
One of these is not like the other.
Reading the synopsis for that movie does not do it any justice, because I read the synopsis like, oh, this might be fun, and then I watched it and I was like, that was...
Who could have expected such a thing? Anyway, we're getting ahead of the script here. Donnell, why don't you pick us back up?
For your consideration, from producers Bradley Cooper, Steven Spielberg, Fred Berner, Amy Durning, and Christy Markowsko Krieger, Maestro. This love story chronicles the lifelong relationship of conductor-composer Leonard Bernstein and actress Felisa Montalegre Cohn Bernstein.
This was a really good movie. I had trouble watching it because the dialogue was so insanely fast. Even with subtitles on, it was hard to keep up. I had to pause. I couldn't imagine watching this in the theater. I would have no idea. You get the broad strokes of the plot when you watch it, but following the dialogue's amazing when you can catch it, but it's really hard to follow. I didn't really understand the black and white to color transition that happened here. I don't know what that signified.
I just felt like it was kind of, what I'd say, art for art's sake, or like they thought it looked artsy, so they did that.
There are a couple of movies that do some black and white stuff that really kind of annoyed me. Other than that, the first half, the black and white part, amazing cinematography. They really did some crazy shots that were really good, and like scene transitions were really amazing. And then like the second half just becomes a regular story, just a regular movie. The makeup job they did on these actors. If they don't win best makeup for this, I don't know what's going on, because I've never seen aging done so well. I think it probably helps when you have like somebody famous and you know what they look like when they were older. But my God, it was just so good. Bradley Cooper nominated for Best Actor. I think he's got it in the bag.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else that was nominated for Best Actor even holds a candle to what Bradley Cooper has done in this role. Just fantastic. And this was his baby.
Yeah. That's one thing. Because as you already heard, he produced this, but he also directed it.
Yep.
He helped write it. He starred in it. Like, this is Bradley Cooper's Deadpool, in a sense.
Apparently, he'd been working on it for a long time.
I mean, and this is after A Star Is Born, which really makes me think Bradley Cooper. Like, I mean, that's the thing is, Bradley Cooper, his trajectory through Hollywood has been impressive, because what I remember him first from, freaking The Hangover.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm introduced to this guy. And to see him doing this level of acting, along with directing, along with writing, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, some people, they always like, sometimes you just need to like find your springboard. It's like, yeah, The Hangover was something he did to get himself into Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let me show you what I can do.
Like Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just feel like he's just like, let me show you what I can do now. And you're just like, oh, okay. So like, take him seriously. Other thing I just really want to point out, just because, I mean, we won't be seeing him in this capacity anymore, but we got our boy Matt Bomer in this movie, who plays Negative Man. And I was just like, so glad to see you getting work after Negative Man. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, he'd make a good, I mean, he's not. They already cast it, but they're like, he'd make a good Superman. I'm like, he would make a good Superman. That's already been cast, so that's not happening. But yeah, no, just want to point that out, because I like seeing him and stuff after Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Yep.
For your consideration, from producers Emma Thomas, Charles Roven, and Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer. The story of American scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb. That's not a good description.
It is not a good description. I came into this movie, one, as you had already attempted to watch it and had talked about it being bad. It was long. And
3 hours.
I came into this movie very low expectations. I will say I did actually enjoy this a lot more than I thought I would. I do think it was too long, but it's definitely a story, and just seeing it portrayed, it's definitely a story that should be told, because like this is, and actually I just coincidentally was watching a video today about talking about cyber warfare and how like this is one of those, once the cat's out of the bag, you can't put it back moments. Like the nuke, once the nuke was made, it's like, well, from this point forward, this is a defining moment of every war. And same with now cyber warfare. Now that stuff is out there, it's like, oh, this is now like war has changed. This is now a big change. And so like, yeah, I really did like watching as they went through of just how many, because so many of the scientists in this movie were like, I don't want to make a bomb. They're like, as they're coming up upon this, discovery and just realizing what it's going to be capable of, just seeing them deal with that struggle of like, I love when they even think like they're talking about the reactions at one point, and they're just like, will it stop, or will this, like, if we blow this up, will it keep reacting until everything's gone? Like they have this moment of like just realizing.
I agree with you that it's a really good story to see.
Yes.
And you know what? If you want to see it, you can go watch a movie with John Cusack called Fat Man, Little Boy, because this story has already been told.
Right.
This movie was 4 stories.
Yes.
And that's too much. There was a really amazing story here. I don't know why you call this Oppenheimer, because that's like only a small part of it.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't need another story about the atomic bomb. But what I did want was a Amadeus-esque story about a politician that's hugging him with one hand and stabbing him in the back with the other. That would have been, if they had just focused on that and the life of Oppenheimer and his ties with the Communist Party and trying to keep a security clearance and, maybe his affairs and stuff like that. But I didn't need a whole retelling of the atomic bomb story on top of that.
Right. Yeah.
It was just too much for me.
It was a lot. That's one thing. I watched it in 2 parts. And definitely that helped me with being able to watch all of it. Just like I took a break, played some games, did some other stuff, and then I was like, all right, let's wrap this up.
Amazingly well shot. The score was amazing. Maybe the best score of the collection. Sound work was really good. I was gonna say should have gotten best sound until another movie came out that we saw, which we'll talk about later. The black and white to color changes, for the life of me, got no idea what they were trying to do there. It made one no rhyme or reason. I was like, oh, maybe this is the past versus the present, but then they changed that up later. I just could not understand.
Like I said, I feel like
what was happening.
They just sometimes do that because they're just like, oh, this makes it more artsy or whatever, and I'm just like, but that's like I've seen movies that do great transitions from black to white or vice versa and stuff. Not from black to white, from black and white to color or vice versa and stuff. But it's like, just because
it can be done right.
Exactly. Like, just because someone else did it and it really like made a staple in their movie doesn't mean you need to do it. Like you have to have purpose behind it.
Yeah. I mean, the best doing of it was, there's 2 really good ones. First, The Wizard of Oz, where it's in black and white at first, but then when she gets to Oz, it's color. It's like, okay, now you're doing something. That was like right when the changeover was happening in the world. But then Schindler's List, where it's just like all black and white until all of a sudden like one element shows up in color, and you're just like in the middle of the movie, you're like, holy shit, what just happened there? Or like the kids' eyes are the only thing that are in color. It's just like really like
it really.
It's surgically used. It can be amazing. Definitely Oscar for the most awkward sex scene in a movie, like even compared to some other stuff that we've got on this list.
Before I watched Oppenheimer, I just remember hearing people talk about like that wasn't needed. Like it was just
all the nudity in this was gratuitous and unnecessary.
Yes,
but boy, that sex scene, I can't imagine filming that where you're just in an open room with a bunch of people, like,
and also like only one of you is having sex while the other one is participating in a meeting in said room. Like, I'm just like, to be a fly on the wall of that room Just be like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
like,
you just got Emily Blunt just staring you down with dagger eyes. Like.
Oh man, that was something else.
I will say that, like, on my second, when I was forced to watch the whole thing through, I eased up on it a bit.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was the worst thing ever. Like, not complete trash, but still a lot of problems with just you trim it down.
Yeah. I really
tell one or two stories. I mean, we're not there yet, but I gotta juxtapose this with the next movie we're gonna talk about, Past Lives, which we'll go into in just a second, because that movie does not give you a single second of anything you don't need.
Nope.
It is. Here's the story.
We're not on the list.
Yeah, no gratuitous
but it tells
information.
It tells its whole story so well. So well done.
Well, let's move into it, Donnell.
For your consideration, from producers David Hinojosa, Christine Watchin, and Pamela Koffler, Past Lives. Nora and Hong Sung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are wrestled apart after Nora's family immigrates from South Korea. 20 years later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront notions of love and destiny.
I love this movie.
Yeah. This one, I liked it. Beautifully acted.
Absolutely.
A lot of the scenes you could, even if you haven't been in this, you could relate to.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the when they first like reconnect and they're going through Skype and they're kind of having that weird awkward kind of like we haven't talked in 20 years conversation. You could feel that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the whole story is just one of those. It's one of those like you would label this as a love story movie, but it's
absolutely. Yeah.
But it doesn't end
it does not
with them together. Like it's I gotta say, I mean, and that's the thing is he's a written character. I mean, the actor who played him did well, but the guy who plays her husband at the end, like that's got to be the like. You see him, he's there and supporting her, but he's supporting her knowing that the reason why she's upset is because she's missed out. Like, and she makes it clear that she does love him, but still, like, it's just like that's some weird territory to have to wade through.
I'm really surprised he did not get, and we should say them. Do you have the guy's name?
John Margoro.
Yeah, and if you look him up, you've seen him in some stuff.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't get a Best Supporting Actor nomination for that. Because his facial expressions were so good. Like the awkwardness of him trying to be supportive of the situation, but knowing what's happening.
Yes.
Right? And there's a scene where she comes in and is like, you were right.
Yeah.
He's not just here visiting. He's here to win me, you know, kind of thing. And like him knowing that and just gritting his teeth and bearing through it. Just so good. Like you said, amazingly well acted, beautifully shot.
Yeah. Like this is one of those movies. I mean, it helps also to some degree because, like I said, they're Korean, and I don't know these actors, but still, this is one of those movies that it did not feel like I believed every of course, that's what you want with any movie, but I believe these characters were the people.
Yeah,
like these actors played these roles so well that the fact that I'm watching a movie faded into the background. Like it just feels like you're like getting a peek into this real life situation that's going on.
The situation is so relatable because everybody has a lost love. Every woman has a guy who you're the lost love of that comes back to you, especially in the age of the internet.
Yep.
You know, and I love that too, that they captured that moment in time where Facebook has just, because it starts out with them kids in like the 80s or 90s or something like that. Yeah. And then it
probably 80s.
Fast forwards to Facebook has just shown up on the thing, and they find each other through Facebook because they're like, oh my God, the Facebook is a thing. Let's go look up everyone we used to know and kids people we lost contact with and stuff like that. And then, of course, using Skype because all of a sudden you can talk to people from around the world without a long distance bill, and you can see their face and stuff. And yeah, I mean, the big time jumps that happen between and in between it. But yeah, just fantastic, beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, before I watched it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. And after I watched it, I was just like, this is up there.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like,
I didn't know what I was getting into when I started it. I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about
I
a foreign
remember
film.
you
Is this gonna
texted
be
me-
another? Is it gonna be another drive my car kind of thing? You know.
I remember you texted me that night you watched it. You just like, damn, past lives, and I was
that
like,
hit hard. That hit hard,
yeah.
man. I was crying.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was so good.
Real quick, just quick shout out because this is an A24 joint. Just putting that out there, folks. Check out A24 stuff.
There's a lot of A20. There's like 4 A24 movies in here. They are. I mean, they put out so much material.
Yeah.
Every year, it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, how could they not have a couple? For your consideration, from producers Ed Guinea, Andrew Lowe, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Emma Stone, Poor Things. The incredible tale about the fantastical evolution of Bella Baxter, a young woman brought back to life by a brilliant and unorthodox scientist, Dr. Godwin Baxter.
Wrong.
That does not do it justice.
It's wrong. See, I mean, I guess you could. Her body was brought. Her body was brought back to life, but she was not the same woman.
Yeah,
and just woo. That's all I can say about this movie. Yeah, I don't even know where to start.
I mean, I would never send anyone into this movie with any information on it.
Yeah,
I would just be like, "Go watch this and have fun."
Yeah,
I would like to read.
Let me know when you're done.
I would like to read to you verbatim in entirety my notes.
Okay.
On this movie,
I'm ready for this.
WTF? Jesus, dear God. Oh, damn. Hilarious. Amazing score. More black and white and color shit. Cool. No. Too preachy. This is a bit too much sex. This much sex is getting uncomfortable. Masterpiece.
Yes. This movie is not my standard fare. I don't know if it's anybody's standard fare at the end of the day. So
is there anything? There are other movies in this niche,
yeah,
but not enough for a full course.
I don't know even like what genre is this movie? Like I don't even know what it falls. Like it's. I mean,
surreal, dark comedy.
But one thing it does have that I always say you need in a Best Picture, it's a coming of age story. That's for
it
damn
is absolutely a coming of age story. I mean, I would really love to dissect this movie, but we don't have the time, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Like I would be down, like maybe at a later date once this has been out for a bit.
Yeah,
I'd be down to come back and like do a full episode dissection.
Yeah. Once it finally comes out, because I was about to say
we had to, this is one we had to watch. We had to watch a cam version of it, and it. I mean, yeah, you said it. For me, it did affect it to some degree, but I just, yeah. When it comes out, I want to see like,
yeah,
and then we can just.
I'd watch this again.
Yeah,
but just a warning to anybody who's going to watch it. There's a lot of nudity.
A lot of nudity.
There was some gruesomeness to it.
Yep.
And I mean, when I say nudity a lot, the main character, Emma Stone, I don't know what she got paid for this, is naked for like 30% of the movie.
Yep.
And half the movie is sex.
She goes to a freaking brothel at one point. But I mean, even this, like, because of her character's predicament, we're not going to go into it here, but because of her predicament, she is learning a lot of stuff all at once. Yeah. So she's just experiencing a lot, and a lot of that ends up being sexual in some ways. Yeah. And like, it's just.
I mean, it's a coming of age story.
Yes.
It's also a women empowerment story.
Yes.
I believe. Much better than Barbie because it's more raw stuff. But it's just, whew.
The ending. I just have to think about it. I was going to say the ending is just weird. But
the ending is very creep show.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
If that gives any indication of what this movie is like, I don't know what to say. It's without going into extreme detail. It's just really bizarre.
It's really bizarre, but in a good way.
It is really good, yeah.
Honestly, this is what I want to know. Talking about being a fly on the wall again, I want to be in the writer's room. I want to, how did this come about?
Yeah.
And then not only come out, how did you get everybody else to be like, Yeah, let's make that.
Look, William Dafoe, he's done some crazy stuff.
He has.
Not unexpected that William Dafoe was in this. Emma Stone, that she was a producer and she starred in this role.
I'm not actually surprised by that.
She's come a long way.
I've watched some interviews of her.
Career.
Yeah, she's come a long way. I've watched interviews of her, and she has really grown. I don't want to say grown, but like just the way I've seen her in interviews, like this doesn't surprise me that she'd be on board with this because like honestly, like she's a producer. I wouldn't be surprised if we found like she even had more than just like, oh, because I'm a star in this movie, I'm a producer. I wouldn't be surprised if she was like, oh, this is partly my like more my doing. I wouldn't
should mention that Emma Stone nominated for Best Actress for this. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying she's got a lock on it.
No,
but she's gonna give Annette Bening and Sandra Hüller a run for their money.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
By the way, can we just a sidebar? Can we talk about Annette Bening? She got Best Actress nominated for a movie called Nyad, which did not make Best Picture. Maybe it should have. Excellent film.
I have not watched
Everyone should go check out. It's about a 60-year-old woman who swam. This is real life. Swam from Cuba to Florida.
Wow.
As like a sporting event. Took her decades to do it.
Wow.
Just an amazing sports story. And we love a sports story here on the Watchin podcast.
A good sports story.
But Annette Bening did very good, and so did Jodie Foster, who got nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Yep. For your consideration, from producer James Wilson, The Zone of Interest. Auschwitz Commandant Rudolf Hoss and his wife Hedwig strive to build a dream life for their family in a house and garden besides the camp.
It's not beside the camp. It's surrounded by the camp.
Yes.
I tell you, I went into this initially very lightly, thinking, do we need more Holocaust movies? Have we not mined this to its depths? Can we move on and tell some other war stories or about some other atrocities and dig into that? Boy, was I wrong.
I mean, as the synopsis said, here's the thing. This is what got me about the movie. This is one of the things for me. I loved how, because we're watching the Commandant and his family and stuff, you really don't see the atrocities happening. They happen.
You never see
exactly.
It. Yeah.
They happen off screen. They happen in sound. Or in smoke. But the fact that honestly for me, that was so amazingly done because it's just like you're just seeing these people trying to live a happy life while you can tell by gunshots or different sounds just over here where the camera's not looking, shit is fucked up.
Yeah.
And they're just like, doop-de-doop-de-doo, let's go swim in the pool. And I'm like, what do you mean go swim in the pool?
Yeah.
And this, oh my, like.
Well, when I read about what the movie was, I didn't read too deep into it. Yeah. I was like, oh, well, then it's just going to be their house near the camp.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. They can see, they can hear the train coming in. They're at the entrance. The wall shows the housing. You can see the train steam. Like, that was what really got me. Like, early in the film, they're just in the backyard talking.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, across like the whole, man, where do I start? It's all framed with, like, they have the backyard, and then they have a giant fence that separates them and Auschwitz.
Yes.
And the fence is, like, 15 feet high. So just always at the top of the screen, you can barely see over the fence into the compound, but it's always, like, rooftops and stuff. But then just, like, very early on, all of a sudden, you can see, like, the steam moving across the screen of a locomotive, and you're like, fuck, man. And then, like, on one side of the fence, on the one side of the yard, you can see the burning the tower that's like where the smoke is coming out from where they're burning everybody. It's just like, my God.
I mean, some of the stuff that stuck with me the most is like watching, because it's just like watching their reaction to different, like one of the thing that I think near the end when so at one point he gets transferred away from Auschwitz. But he does so well at his new job that, like, we're going to put you in charge of the next extermination of a bunch of, and his joy And yes, you could say, oh, it's because he gets to go home to his family. But even if it's all based on that, he gets to go home to his family. He is joyful that because of the extermination of these people, he gets to see his family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is most fun. Like, it's just like,
it's dark.
It is just. Yeah. And like his wife's reaction to like literally when like you can see, I mean, it's dark.
Well, look, I don't want to cover this movie in detail.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But it's easy to like really dive deep.
We ended up seeing this one in theaters because it's being like full theatrical release in a few weeks here. But saw it in theaters. And like I said, at first going to theaters, like I was like, oh man, we gotta go see one of these movies in theaters. This was worth seeing it in theaters.
Yes, I agree with you. I think any of these other movies that I watched at home in the comfort of my home, I would have enjoyed maybe seeing it at the theater.
Yeah.
This one would have been diminished.
Yes.
By not seeing it at the theater at least once.
Yes.
With that sound system and that isolation. Just
being not in a usual environment, being in, I mean, you might turn off all the lights in your own house, but in the theater for sure. But being in the darkness, being, like you said, in that isolated thing, that really
and a giant screen
adds to it.
I think this was in all foreign language. It was in three languages. It was German,
Yiddish, and
Dutch.
You got it right here. Oh, all right, 1 second. There we go. It's German, Yiddish, and Polish.
Sorry, Polish. Yeah. I mean, I want to say that was annoying that it wasn't in English, but it's a foreign film. But I spent so much time like looking at the subtitles when I really just wanted to be staring at the top of the screen the whole time and like catching all the little details that were going on over the fence, like just the little bits and pieces, because every time I caught one, I was like, damn, that's really adding to the story. But not much of a score.
No.
Starts really weird. But the sound work is on another level.
Yeah.
There's, in my opinion, and it's kind of stated if you read up on the movie, there's a second movie happening within the sound. Just the sound work.
Yeah.
Because they're just playing in the backyard in the pool. And there's just screams and gunshots going on that everyone's ignoring until someone doesn't ignore it, and like, it's just like, how can you live here? You know, kind of thing.
I mean, that's the absurdity of it also is what hits. Because, like, there's one scene that in any other movie would have been played. And even in this movie, it's almost shot as if it's for laughs. But just the thought of it is, like, where they, like, they're having, like, a nice, backyard barbecue time at the pool. And oh, grandma fell asleep and everybody left her outside and stuff, like, ha, ha, ha. But then in this movie, you're just like, like, everybody left her outside and, like, over the wall, human massacre is happening. And so, like, it's framed like, look, grandma fell outside. And it's just like, it's if you go watch this movie and you realize it's very dark. And it's very stylized. It's not too long. It's about an hour and a half, hour 45. That's about all you could take. Right. Once it was over, I sighed relief when they got to the when I knew the end was coming. I was like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of this room. And not watch this. The ending, I didn't really. It faltered just a little bit. I give it like a 9.8 out of 10 as far as the ending goes, where I would give like American Fiction like a 7 out of 10, or something like that. It's still a good ending, but it just kind of ends and it's a little weird, but I get what they were trying to do, and it still works. Because like where else do you end it? Also, just I mean I could talk about this movie all day, but just this reading about what they did for the background noises and sound work that they did on this is just beyond next level. It's S tier, and they're nominated for that for best sound. They've got to win. Yeah, if they don't win, no, I don't know what else. If whatever did win, if it's not a movie I've seen, I'm gonna have to watch that movie to be like, okay, what's going on in this sound work? Because I've seen Zone of Interest, and all right, so those are your movies. Yes. Yeah. So really, that back half, total different from that front. It hits hard. Yeah. All right, predictions. Yes, let's get into this. Who do you think gonna win Best Picture? I am torn because Zone of Interest. Yes, absolutely. I feel should. I don't see how it doesn't. I feel like a couple of things put it where it might not, just because like I don't even know how to phrase this. Like I guess it's just kind of like leaning into like I've jokingly said there's a formula, and while this movie is in the formula, like it pushes against the boundaries a lot.
Yeah.
In a way, and I just feel like so. I hate to say this, but I feel like because of the glow up, because of the star power, because of just how much spotlight on it. If you're asking me what I think is going to win, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say Oppenheimer.
That'd be a travesty.
It would. Yeah. It would because after you tell me what you think is going to or was going to win, we're going to do what we think should win. And yeah, I will. Well,
no, I mean, look, I obviously think Zone of Interest is going to win. In my opinion, it's just too good.
Yeah,
it's too good. It's always been my opinion that for a Best Picture, you've really got to do something amazing.
Yes. Something that
like Birdman. I knew that was going to win Best Picture because it really changed the way like you could make a single shot through a whole movie. Yeah. Kind of thing. Zone of Interest does that. It does does something special with the sound work and the visuals.
Because I'm about to say it's not just the sound work, the visuals, the storytelling. Even. It's just how they get the story across. Like I said, what really sticks with me is
the set design. The set work is amazing too.
What really sticks with me is just how that movie is shot, where you never see the terribleness.
Yep.
But you know it's there.
But they still
make it
show
very clear.
They don't like show you someone dying.
No.
But they allude to it with visuals.
They make it very clear.
Yeah.
What's going on the other side of the wall.
And the ramp up of the scale of it. Anyway, I don't want to give away the movie because you got to go watch it. I think Zone of Interest is going to win. It's who I want to win.
Me too.
It's what I want to win. That being said, until I saw this movie, Poor Things.
Yes.
Would have been my top. I think Poor Things is another amazingly.
Zone of Interest, I'm actually leaning a little bit towards Past Lives for me.
Not a terrible choice.
Yeah.
By no means. Past Lives is amazing. It's emotional. It's succinct, which is not something that's often done. Yeah. Normally it'd be like this story on top of an action film.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that it tells the story so without adding anything extra. Is something of note, in my opinion. I don't know if that was something they were really pushing for, or if they just did that because that's what their budget had and they didn't want to make a long movie.
Yeah.
But they did something special there. But Poor Things is something else.
It is.
Like visually, the boundaries they push and how it has so much sex in it that's not gratuitous. Somehow you could make a movie that's mostly sex and it not be gratuitous. I don't know how they pulled that off. The makeup work, the costumes, the sound work, the score in Poor Things is really amazing too. It's just a fantastic film, if weird as hell.
Yeah,
for sure. But in my opinion, if Oppenheimer wins against Zone of Interest in any of the categories that they're up against each other, it's a travesty.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like I said, I can agree with that. I just feel like the travesty's coming.
Just because of politics, maybe, or something like that, just because of how big it is. And it's just like, obvious. Oppenheimer was the baitiest of Best Picture bait films of 2023. It was
100%.
Like they made that movie going, we're going to win an Oscar, or a bunch of them, kind of thing.
And then lastly, what movie did you enjoy the most? Or
I would say I had a biggest emotional connection with Past Lives.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I super enjoyed any of these. None of these were super fun or anything like that. But I guess Poor Things is where I'd put that category, where I was like, okay, this is I'm into this. Yeah.
For me, I'm going with The Holdovers.
Holdovers is a fine movie. It's a little sappy for me, maybe.
I can agree with you there. It is a little sappy, but I feel like, especially that back half, but there was a lot of weighty movies in this. I mean, even Oppenheimer is a serious topic, talking with atomic bomb, plus all the intrigue around his life. Freaking Past Lives, dealing with a lost love. Freaking Zone of Interest, the Holocaust. This thing, Killers of a Flower Moon, Anatomy of a Fall, just a lot of weighty. And for me, maybe that's why the holdover was just a breath, like coming up for a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, man, it's just Paul Giamatti goofing around with a kid.
American Fiction was that for me, where I was just like, a nice summer day inside my winter. You know?
Yeah. And so I think that might be kind of it. But I just was like, oh, this is like that thing is. It is not, like I said, the Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Past Lives, and stuff. Like, those ones are the ones I see, like, those are the better movies. But enjoyment-wise, I the holdover is for me, because I was like, oh, just enjoy this. There's also, like, there was a lot of really dissecting some of those movies where, like, holdovers, no, my brain just
a fine regular movie.
Just turn off. My brain just got to relax. I was using my exercise bike, and I'm just, here we go. Just fantastic.
Oh man. Anyway, good list this year. Much better than the previous year. You know,
I did not at the start. I thought this was going to be a rough year. I really was like, "Ooh, here we go, folks." Yeah. But
still 30 hours a movie, you know. As always, you can find us on our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, you already know. Invincible's back, folks.
Boy, if anywhere as good as the first half.
Yep. And we are approaching the big 200.
Yeah.
We're thinking of maybe doing something special.
We'll see. We're trying to line things up.
Not going to be like our 100th episode, but just maybe a little something special for you. So be ready for that. And then as always, give us any rating reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.